The valedictorian is a student who achieves the highest weighted grade point average. This year, for the class of 2014, this honor goes to Jennifer Taylor Urick. I'll ask that Jenny and Rachel please come to the podium so you can address your peers.
Hello. There's a lot of people here. Okay. So, may I first just preface this entire speech, which you all must endure before receiving your diplomas tonight, with this simple phrase: Class of 2014, you are all fabulous. I have a lot of people I would like to thank tonight because without their support, love, and guidance, I definitely would not be where I am today. I would like to thank our esteemed faculty and administration, our honored guests with us tonight, my mother, Susan, hi Mom, my sister, my future brother-in-law, they're getting married in September, my grandparents, my father, who you all probably know better as the legendary, tall, kind of sounds like Morgan Freeman, slightly balding science teacher, Mr. Urick. I'd also like to thank the creators of Wikipedia and SparkNotes. And finally, I would like to thank you, class of 2014, which is why we are all gathered here tonight. So while I was writing this speech that I prepared for you this fine evening, I struggled with ideas and tried to follow the rubric too closely. I got to the point where I was so frustrated I threw out the rubric and just started writing. But I did have one goal in mind when I started writing, and that is I refuse to subject you to cheesy cliches and overused extended metaphors of life is like a book or life is like a tree. What if my life isn't like a tree? I'd say my life is much more like a lamp because I really love lamps. And I know for sure your lives are much more awesome than dusty old books. So class of 2014, we have endured 13 years of public schooling, which culminates tonight in the form of a handshake and a piece of paper that somehow qualifies us for the real world. But what has our education taught us? Our 43rd President of the United States, George W. Bush, posed the same inquiry approximately 13 years ago when we were just starting kindergarten. And he said it in the most eloquent of fashion. Rarely is the question asked, is our children learning? Well, Georgie, I can proudly tell you that here at Elizabethtown Area High School, our children is learning. And they is learning good. I would like to take this opportunity to share and reflect on with you all 5 things I have learned from my education here at Elizabethtown Area High School. Number 1, how to put the pro in procrastination. In high school, I procrastinated on everything, even this speech, which I confess I wrote the night before it was due. I'm sorry, Mrs. Bradley. But we, the class of 2014, have, over the past 4 years, refined the art that is procrastination. Freshman year, we believed that procrastination was finishing our homework the night before it was due. Sophomore year, we thought it was starting our homework the night before it was due. Then junior year rolled around, and I thought it meant, starting our homework in homeroom because they both have home in it. And then finally, senior year. Sorry, I lost my spot. Finally, in senior year, I have discovered that procrastination in its purest and truest form is scribbling your name down on a piece of paper at the beginning of class and then hoping for the best. If I have any advice to give you, it would be in the words of Ellen DeGeneres: procrastinate now, don't put it off. Number 2, failure is the key to success. School tries to teach us to be perfectionists, that a perfect score is the best score. Well, quite frankly, that's extremely misleading. Mistakes are what makes us succeed. However, only if we learn from them. It provides a sturdy foundation for success later on. For example, I really didn't fail my driving test 3 times. I just found 3 ways not to pass it. Shout out to Matt Stevens. I learned how not to pull out of a parallel park, how not to turn left in a turning lane, and how to wait behind the stop sign so you can't see anything coming from either direction. My main man, Albert Einstein, once said, "A person who has never made a mistake has never tried learning something new." So class of 2014, put yourselves out there, learn something new, and I encourage you to make mistakes. Number 3, imagination is the key to success. Contrary to the ideals of standardized testing, which I believe were carefully constructed to suck all the creativity, imagination, and joy out of school, imagination is much more important than knowledge. Sure, you can amass all the knowledge in the world, but you can't do anything with it unless you have creativity. Our world is full of problems, and we have more knowledge than ever before at our disposal, but imagination is the solution to these problems. Logic can get you from point A to point B, but imagination can take you everywhere. Never lose your creativity and imagination. And then finally, number 4. I lied about 5 points because I ran out of ideas and I'm starting to run out of time. So number 4. If not now, then when? And if not us, then who? I have only recently become acquainted with this phrase after hearing a speech given by a man who runs an extensive network of laboratories called Not Impossible Labs. Their mission? To accomplish the impossible and change the world. Class of 2014, our world needs changing, and when better to change it than now, and who better to change it than us? We are the future engineers, builders, and creators. We are the future thinkers, philosophers, and scientists. We are the future dancers, prancers, and athletes. We are the future actors, artists, and musicians. We are the future politicians, leaders, peacemakers, and do-gooders. We are the future, and we are change. Changing the world is a daunting task, but it's not impossible. Nothing can stop us from changing the world. In the wise words of philosopher and singer Miley Cyrus, we can't stop, and we won't stop. Class of 2014, we are unstoppable, and we will change the world, because if not now, then when? And if not us, then who? Live long and prosper, class of 2014.